Welcome back to the deep dive. So, you sent over this really interesting article from Observer Point, exploring the landscape, different types of programmers.
Hmm.
And honestly, I'm always a bit mystified by just how many different kinds of programmers there are, so I'm keen to get a clearer picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's smart to, you know, want to get a handle on these specializations, whether it's for your own projects or navigating the tech world or just, well, plain curiosity about how this digital stuff gets built.
Hmm.
This article gives a pretty solid overview, I think.
Okay, cool.
So our mission today basically is to unpack the main differences, right? What each type focuses on, the tech they usually use. Just give everyone a kind of concise map of the programming landscape.
Sounds good. A map is definitely needed.
So the article kicks things off by splitting programmers into two main groups, front-end and back-end. Maybe we should quickly define those for anyone maybe newer to this.
Yeah, good idea. So, front end, that's everything you actually see and interact with on a website or app, isn't it? Like the layout, the buttons, the look and feel.
Exactly. Spot on. It's all about the user interface, the UI, and the user experience, UX, what you, the user, directly touch and see.
Right.
And the back end, then, is sort of the engine room. It's behind the scenes. It handles the server-side logic, manages the databases, uh, provides all the power that makes the front end actually do things.
Got it. Okay. So let's maybe zoom in on the front end folks first. The article mentions JavaScript programmers. What's their main thing?
Right. JavaScript, they're the ones making websites interactive. Dynamic. They build the bits that react when you click something or type in a box. They handle those user events, update parts of the page without reloading everything.
Ah,
And the article notes they're in high demand, which is definitely true. It's
yeah.
partly driven by, well, how complex web apps have become. These like single-page applications that feel almost like desktop software. Plus, JavaScript can even run on the back end now, which is interesting.
Huh. And they don't just write like plain JavaScript code all the time, right? The article talks about React, Angular, Vue.js. What are those?
Good point. Yeah, while JavaScript is the core language, they almost always use frameworks and libraries. Think of them as pre-built toolkits. They make building complex user interfaces much, much easier and quicker.
Okay.
So React, for instance, helps you build UIs from reusable bits called components. Angular is maybe more of a full structure for big apps. Vue.js is often liked for being easy to pick up.
Right, like having a well-organized toolbox instead of just loose screwdrivers and hammers everywhere.
Exactly that. A great analogy.
Okay, so the next front-end group in the article, HTML and CSS programmers, it does clarify these aren't strictly programming languages, so what's their vital role then?
Yeah, that's a key point. HTML, hypertext markup language, it defines the structure, the skeleton of the page,
Mm-hmm.
headings, paragraphs, images, link, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then CSS, cascading style sheets, controls how all those elements look, the colors, the fonts, the layout, and importantly, how it all adapts to different screens, making it responsive.
So phones, tablets, desktops.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So while they don't have logic like JavaScript, you absolutely cannot build a website without them. They are fundamental, bedrock skills for any front-end dev.
Makes sense. All right, let's switch over to the back end then, the engine room. The article starts with Python programmers. Python often gets called beginner-friendly. Does that hold up for complex back-end stuff? Or are there downsides?
That's a really common question. And yes, the syntax is quite readable, which helps beginners. But don't let that fool you. Python has incredibly powerful libraries and frameworks like Django and Flask are the big ones.
Right.
These let experienced developers build really robust, scalable backend systems. They handle a lot of the common tasks like database stuff, user logins. So devs can focus on the unique logic of their app.
So what's the trade-off then, if any?
Well, sometimes, for very specific high-performance tasks, it might be a bit slower than, say, Java or C++. But for most web applications, the speed you gain in development because it's so readable and has great libraries often outweighs that. The article hints at readability being key, and it's huge in data science too, of course.
Right. Okay, next is Java. I always associate Java with like big companies, enterprise stuff. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you're definitely picking up on its main territory. Java is a heavyweight in enterprise environments. Java programmers build those large-scale, secure, server-side applications that big organizations rely on. The Java ecosystem is just vast, mature, tons of tools, frameworks. It's built for stability and handling complexity. A real workhorse.
Gotcha. Then there's PHP. The article connects it to WordPress. Can you unpack that connection a bit? And where does PHP stand today?
Sure. PHP was, for a long time, the language of the web. It's the engine behind a massive chunk of the internet, largely because it powers WordPress.
Ah, okay.
So PHP programmers build dynamic websites, web apps, especially content management systems. Now, while newer languages like Python or Node.js using JavaScript have gained a lot of popularity for new projects, there are just so many existing websites and systems built on PHP. So there's still significant demand for PHP devs to maintain and update all that code. It's definitely not gone.
Still relevant then, even if not the newest kid on the block.
Precisely. It's deeply entrenched.
Okay, what about Ruby programmers? Ruby on Rails gets mentioned. What's their niche?
Ruby, especially with the Ruby on Rails framework, is really known for developer happiness and productivity. The whole philosophy is about making common web development tasks easier and faster, elegant syntax, lots of conventions.
So speed of development is key.
Often, yes. You can sometimes get a web application up and running quite quickly with Rails. Its market share might be smaller overall than, say, Java or Python, but it has a very strong, dedicated community, popular in startups, historically.
Interesting. And finally, C# programmers. The article mentions they do a lot of different things. Like what?
Yeah, C# is quite versatile, largely because it's a Microsoft language.
Yeah.
So C# devs work on a really wide range of stuff, Windows desktop apps, obviously, but also back-end web development using Microsoft's ASP.NET framework.
Okay.
And it's huge in game development, particularly with the Unity engine.
Oh, right, Unity.
Yep. So as the article points out, that versatility means C# programmers have quite a few different career paths they could potentially follow. Lots of options.
Wow. Okay. So just to kind of wrap this part up, we've got this big split, right? Front end, what you see using JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and then back end, the hidden power with languages like Python, Java, PHP, Ruby, C#, each with its own sort of flavor and common uses.
Exactly.
It really drives home that programmer isn't just one single job, is it?
Not at all. That's the key takeaway from the article, I think. It's a really diverse field. Each specialization needs different skills, different ways of thinking sometimes. Understanding that is super valuable, whether you're, hiring people, learning to code yourself, or even just trying to understand the tech news better.
Definitely. Well, hopefully this deep dive into the different programmer types has given everyone listening a clearer, more structured view of the landscape. That was certainly the goal based on the article you shared.
Absolutely. And it does leave you with a fascinating thought, doesn't it? Given how fast technology changes, I mean, relentlessly fast, how do we think these roles might shift in the next few years?
Yeah.
Will the demand for certain languages change drastically? What totally new specializations might pop up? AI-focused developers, maybe? Quantum developers? Who knows?
That's a great point.
It's always evolving. Staying curious, like you did by looking into this article, is probably the best strategy.